All right, then. So welcome to the HOA Information and Resource Center's HOA Forum on the registration process today. I'm very pleased to introduce you all to Amanda Lopez, the HOA Information Support Specialist, who will be spearheading this presentation because she is our absolute HOA registration guru. I am David Donnelly, the HOA Information Officer, and certainly am available to assist with questions, but Amanda truly is in every respect the expert in the HOA registration world. And so with no further ado, I'd like to present Amanda Lopez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Of course, like David said, my name is Amanda, and I'm the HOA support specialist with the Information and Resource Center within the Division of Real Estate, which is with DORA. So also known as DORA, right? So I am the person that you always get to talk to or email with whenever you contact our office. So again, I appreciate everybody who is with us today, and let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. What I would like, if you guys would please go ahead and do a test chat. Now, last week our chat was not available, but we did go in and make it available this time. So if you guys have any questions that you may have during the presentation or after the presentation, I'm always happy to go through these chats, David and I, and we can get those questions answered for you, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my video, but I will keep the presentation on, of course. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so just first things first, of course, the information that we have provided during the presentation today is for educational purposes only and is not meant to provide or to be construed as legal advice. Any legal questions, of course, should always be directed to your attorney. And of course, the Colorado Common Interest Ownership Act, also known as Kiowa, CCIOA. This statute, of course, defines the rights of unit owners as well as those bestowed upon the association. It also defines the rights and responsibilities of an association as directed by its executive board. Kiowa provides for the enforcement of those rights and responsibilities through civil litigation. Unfortunately, though, of course, the state has no authority to intervene on any association's members' conflict with their association, nor does it have any jurisdiction to enforce the rights and responsibilities that are defined in Kiowa. And as you all know, of course, Colorado has many standard sets and provides homeowners with several statutory rights, and they did not have prior to 1992. But of course, they must be asserted and enforced by the individual homeowner. And of course, our favorite section of the division, just kidding now, the HOA Center, HOA office. The HOA Center was created by House Bill 10-1278 and became effective on January 1st, 2011. It's been codified in the Colorado Rights Statutes 12-10-801, so it's therefore a statutory created office. The office is specifically intended to act as a clearinghouse for information concerning the basic rights and duties of unit owners, declarants, and unit owners concerning the basic rights and duties of unit owner. Oh, I'm so sorry. I redid that whole entire thing. I apologize. So, although the HOA office is not a regulatory program, its authorizing statute contains a sunset clause, which requires that the legislator review the relevant statute and determine whether or not to continue to authorize the HOA office once every 5 years. Most recently, the HOA Center received reauthorization in 2020, and it is not set to undergo sunset review again until 2025. Okay, and let's get into the registration, the HOA registration requirements. Now, and you'll see, because I will be going in and doing a application with everybody. That way you all see, the step-by-step where we need to go. And the first thing that you will see when registering, when initially registering an HOA, of course, is going to be the list of what you'll need as far as the requirements to register the HOA and to successfully register. Let's go ahead and go down the list. Of course, you will need the name and contact information for the HOA's designated agent. Now, a lot of people do get confused about this. The designated agent is not the same thing as the registered agent with the Secretary of State. They are two separate entities. So the Secretary of State, again, will register will have their registered agent, which is their contact person. We here at the Division of Real Estate have a designated agent, which is also, of course, known as the contact person on behalf of the HOA. A little bit confusing, but of course, if you have questions, I'm always happy to answer that for you. Next is the certificate of good standing from the Secretary of State. And that, if you don't have that or you need access to that, of course, you can always get in contact with them. Now, I didn't put their contact information, but I do have this here, and we can always go on to their website, or I can give you their phone number. That way you can look them, or we can get in contact with them to see if either the HOA that you're looking to register has already been registered, or if you need access to the certificate of good standing. Next on that list is the Secretary of State ID number. Again, if you don't have that, you can always get in contact with the Secretary of State to obtain that information. Or because one thing that we do request in order to get access information for the account is the Secretary of State ID number. So again, this is a very, very, very important thing to have here. Next, of course, on this list is the physical location and the number of units for the HOA. So this we do need. This is one of the requirements, of course, to get the HOA registered. Next, we do need the Kiowa information. There is a section in the application. Again, we can always go in and see the application when we go through it. And if you have questions on that, I can always, we can get those questions answered. I do see that there are some questions or chats. I'm not sure if they're questions, but I will get to those once we go down this list. Next is the total revenue for the HOA. Now, a lot of people do get confused about this. So this is a total annual revenues for the association. Now, this information is very, very important when it comes to the initial registration of the HOA. So the annual revenues for an HOA, if they are below $5,000, then that means that the HOA application, the fee is going to be waived. So if the revenues exceed $5,000, then of course you will see that fee for the HOA registration. And of course, last but not least is going to be the HOA Declaration Information. Now, again, you should have these, and of course, any documents that you receive whenever you do get them recorded. This information is going to be, again, one of the important information that we need for the HOA to be registered. Let me go ahead and see if there are any questions.
Amanda, yes, there are a few questions.
Okay.
I'll take one of them here, which is Alicia's asking, what do you mean by the sunset provision? And Alicia, what that is every program, every governmental program in the state of Colorado has what we call, or we generally refer to as a sunset provision, which means the legislature creates an organization such as the HOA Information and Resource Center, and it automatically by statute comes back and reviews it a few years down the road to say, is this serving the purposes, the legislative intent that we created it for? And so in our case here, the HOA office was originally created by legislation that was proposed in 2010. And as Amanda said, it became effective in 2011. We then, we operate, we collect the data, we fulfill our legislative mandate, and the legislature then takes that back under their wing and says, is it doing what we would like it to do? So in this case, we have the current statute states that the HOA Information Resource Center will theoretically sunset or go away at such time in the future unless it is reinstituted or renewed by the legislature and signed by the governor at that time in this case in 2025. So that's what we mean by the sunset provision. The other issue that looks like it's been going on is we just wanted to confirm with everyone that if you're having issues seeing the slides, we will share these slides in the chat. I placed my email address. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I am more than happy to forward these slides to you, as well as what we always do within a matter of a few days after our HOA forums is we post the slides as well as a recording of this webinar on our website so that you can view it, or if you're speaking with another community member or another board member and they say, hey, I attended a great webinar, maybe you should check it out, you can direct them to our website to not only review the slides, but also listen to this webinar in its entirety. So, but that's it for right now, Amanda.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that question for me, David. Okay, next one. Great, the fun part, the one that everybody asks questions about. And again, that's why I'm here today and of course every day to answer the question for you as far as how to renew, or I apologize, how to create a new HOA account. So with this, what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually go and create an online account, and we're going to actually go through the HOA registration application. During the registration application, if you have any questions on any of the pages, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer those questions for you. Okay, so let me just go ahead and really quick and share my screen with you on the registration page. So bear with me one moment. And David, please let me know if you can see this. Can you see that coming in?
Yes, you're pulling over the screen. So now we're on the live the e-license registration. One thing to bring to your attention, Amanda, is when we're getting into the registration, there's some specific questions about question 14 in the registration process. So I might jump in at that point to help clarify that question when we get there.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and start. Okay, so creating an online account. Again, if you already have an account, and this I cannot stress this enough. So if you are not sure if the HOA has been registered in the past, please go onto the Secretary of State's website to look up the HOA name, just to verify and confirm that the HOA hasn't been registered previously. Because I would hate for you to create an online account, go through that whole entire process, only for you to receive a pop-up stating that the HOA, that the Secretary of State ID number already exists. So please, before applying for a new HOA license, please either go on here. You can always go on to check to see if the HOA is already registered, or you can go on to the Secretary of State's website again to see if that's already been registered. Let's go ahead and get started with the new HOA registration. First things first, you want to go here to where it says do not have an account, and you're going to register here. A lot of people ask on which one we want to register as. Well, it is a business, so of course we are going to register the HOA as a business, and we will be using an individual account and that is going to be only for the designated agent. So that is where a lot of confusion comes in. But again, this is exactly why we are doing this today. Next question. Are you registering an online account for yourself or for a licensed company? And this is a little tricky, but this is the key here. For brand new companies that have not yet been licensed, you're going to go ahead and select no. Now, if you are trying to get access to the HOA account that has already been registered, it's a little confusing, but that is when you are going to select yes. Again, it's asking for a license that have not yet, for companies that have not yet been licensed with us. That's only going to be no. If you need the online registration number, or if you have the online registration number and you're trying to change the user ID or password for the HOA, that is the only time that you are going to select yes. So we're going to go ahead and select no and get into the registration, of course. So user ID, this can be whatever you want it to be, anything for the HOA that you can remember. Or if you need it, you can always get in contact with us, but this is where you create, of course, the user ID, password, email address, create the whole name for the HOA, all that information. So we're going to create a new one, and we can do HOA Reg Forum. Why not, right? How about not? HOA Forum. Okay. That can be, I'm going to put 1. So HOA Forum 1, that's going to be my user ID. Email address, of course. Password. That's a little tricky, but you do have to follow all these. You got to have, every single one of these here, lowercase, uppercase, number, special character, and it has to be either 4 characters or more. Okay. Perfect. Name of the HOA, I will name it HOA Forum. And of course I remembered because I put I don't know how I remembered, but it did. Great. Okay. Here's all the other information that you're going to need. Secret questions. Funny, I know this one always comes up. I don't have a grandchild. So you literally can put whatever you want, and I'm just, for now, just going to put Denver for each one. Oops. A lot of people, and that makes me laugh. A lot of people say, I'm in my 30s. I don't have a grandchild. Like, we know it's okay. It's just one of the questions that comes up. Okay. And we're going to create the account. So, oopsies, that goes here. Perfect. And I think it's thinking that there's different addresses. Perfect. Accounts created, right? So here's what you're going to get. This is what you're going to receive here. So this is only for you to verify the email address. I know sometimes it doesn't, for whatever reason, it doesn't send that email to you. And this is where, of course, I would go ahead and come in. So let me go ahead and actually verify my email address. One moment. And I will do it on my end really quick. That way. Perfect. Bear with me one moment. Okay, perfect. So that's done. Now, okay, it's already been verified. So let's get into the actual application itself. So to get into, and this is how you're going to know that you're in your HOA account. If you were in your own individual designated agent account, that's where you would need, that's where you'll see the name here. So we know we're in the HOA's business account because it's the HOA name. A lot of people get that confused, and a lot of people wonder, well, how come I'm not seeing the HOA application or whatnot? Well, because you got to make sure you're not in your own individual account. The application can be found here. So apply for a new license. This is where you're going to see the whole list of different types of licenses that we regulate here, different programs that we regulate, except one that we do not, of course, is going to be HOAs. But list of licenses to apply for, of course, you're going to go for the HOA. Now, do not get confused. A lot of people do get confused with this one. So remember, this is only for the designated agent. If you were to have a HOA account and you select a designated agent license, then it's going to think that you are an individual, and it's not a legitimate application. So you want to make sure that you are selecting the homeowners association, and this is only for the HOA application, of course. Next, we will definitely get into the HOA's designated agent, but for now, because we are starting with the HOA account, we're going to select this here. Okay, and as I mentioned, when I did go down that list, this is the very first that you will see, and this is everything that we talked about. So if you do not have the Secretary of State ID information, then this is where you would go. This will take you right directly to the Secretary of State's website, where you can go ahead and either contact them or search for the HOA name. Okay. And of course, once you have obtained that, and again, this is where you want to make sure that you're entering the one, because if it's already been registered, you don't want to enter all the information and then find out that, you know, the HOA has already been registered and you just did this whole application for nothing. Let's see, how many, I know it's a dumb question, but how many, David, how many digits are the Secretary of State ID numbers?
I believe that it is 11 characters long. Exactly.
Oh, thank you. I just saw the pop up.
And for decoding that for the listeners here, your Secretary of State entity ID number is generated by the Secretary of State. It usually starts with the year that you register in. So if we if our association was created in 1978, those first 4 digits you'd see 1978, and then it's numerically created in order from there by the Secretary of State. But if you were creating a new association today, maybe you're a developer, your SOS ID number would probably say 2022 as the first 4 digits, and then another I guess 9 numbers after, or excuse me, 7 numbers after that.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Upload the documents. I don't have it, of course. This is just a test account, but you will. So whatever you do get the certificate of good standing, you will need to go ahead and upload that here. That way we have that information on file. Just street name for the HOA, of course. All the information, and you do want to put the physical location of the HOA. We do not need, nor do we require, a residential address. It needs to be the address to where the HOA is registered and physically located. Any information that you see with any question that you see with an asterisk next to it, that is a required, it does require an answer. So just remember that. Because I do not want to pay today, I'm going to put annual revenues of $5,000 or less. Remember that this is one of the most important ones here. This will determine whether or not you will need to pay for the HOA. We do need the most accurate information. And I'm going to go ahead and put a nonprofit. We want to know how the HOA is managed. Of course, if it's self-managed or professionally managed. This one, I'm going to go ahead and put that it's a self-managed HOA. And if you do have it, we don't need it. Again, if it doesn't have an asterisk, you don't need to answer. But it's great to have that information. You are more than welcome to put the HOA's website here. What HOA type is this? So is it condominiums, cooperatives, planned communities? So I'm going to go ahead and put that it's planned communities, and I will just go ahead and put that there are 20. Any HOA units, do they have any timeshares? I don't ever receive any. It's very rare that we do have any HOAs with timeshares, but it does happen. So I'm going to go ahead and put no for this. Enter the number of timeshare units within the HOA. We're going to go ahead and put 0 because there are none.
And now we're catching up to the question that was asked earlier about question number 14, whether to claim Kiowa exemptions or not. Amanda, can you show, does the question mark bubble there show a description of what this question pertains to there in question 14?
Let's see. If this one here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just shows what Kiowa means.
So generally speaking, the answer here is going to be no. There are certain circumstances where you could say yes in the event that this was a limited expense community, but the answer for the vast majority of you all will be no to this question.
And again, only if there's asterisks. I cannot tell you the more information. I mean, if you were provide yes, this is where you would definitely have to answer every one of these questions because it will then be a requirement, of course. No. So we're going to say no there. And we're going to go ahead and hit next. And I know there was a question, and I know you got to it, David, in the chat. Does each person create an HOA account for themselves, or is one account set up per HOA? Each HOA, and thank you, David, for answering that question. But yes, each HOA gets its own separate account. If there are 20 HOAs that have never been registered, you're going to have to create 20 different user IDs and 20 different passwords with 20 separate HOA accounts. Only time you will only need one account is going to be for the designated agent. The designated agent can be supervising all 20 of those HOAs. So yes, I hope that answered your question. All right, has the HOA declaration been recorded? Should we hit yes? If yes, you have to enter the date, time, or the date that was recorded, of course, and then of course all the numbers.
And where you can usually find that information, however, you will note that this is not an asterisk required question, number 20, but you could find that more often than not on your actual declaration. When a document is recorded, your local county's clerk and recorder's office puts a stamp or a sticker on it stating what the book and the page number are, the reception numbers, as you can see here in the subsequent questions. That's where you can obtain that information. And were you to ever need a cleaner copy of your declarations, you could reach out to your board, to your clerk and recorder's office and request, say, hey, I have a document that was filed at reception number ABC, at book and page number, and that would significantly help your clerk and recorder's office in locating your documents so that you could perhaps get a clean copy or a more complete copy. Some of these documents are from Leo just put in the chat 1971, and those documents will be probably in poor quality if you've been looking at them over the last several decades here. So getting a clean copy back from the clerk and recorder's office is an excellent option, and that's where you get that information: the reception, book, and page number.
Great, thank you so much. And I do want to get to some of these questions, David, because it is regarding the previous page. So we do have a few questions here, and of course, in regards to this one, our Kiowa exemptions claimed. So one thing that we can't tell you how to answer this question. That is, that every HOA should have that information. Now, for 14, of course, Rob is asking if, since his HOA was created in 1979, would they answer no? And I mean, David, I mean, you can maybe vouch, but we can't, tell how to answer. That is up to each HOA, correct?
That is correct. However, I mean, in general, again, I can say that most of these exemptions are limited. There was another inquiry as to whether a senior community would have exemptions, and that the answer would be no for senior communities as well. So, but this question primarily is just for us to get a better feel for, particularly if we were talking about an older community or a limited expense community, that helps us get just a little bit more color, a little bit more information regarding, should you reach out to us and ask us questions about your community, we would be able to just glean a little bit more information in the process.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Next question. Oh, see, okay, it happens to me too. Okay, so, okay, based on your previous answer, and this is I'm glad this happened because I know this happens to so many people. So great, okay. Based on your previous answer, the declaration has been recorded, so you got to enter the declaration date. Well, I don't know it, so I'm going to go ahead and click on no for now. But you do need to have that information. A lot of HOAs, a lot of people ask, can I provide that information to you? Once I get it registered, we do ask that it is provided if you have it. And I would recommend that you just, get in contact with who you need to get in contact with, if it's like Dave was saying is clerk recorder's office. If you need any information there, you will get it. So make sure you enter yes if you have this information, please. I'm going to go ahead and click no. That way I can get past that question. Fun part. Okay. Is a designated agent for the homeowners association currently registered with the Division of Real Estate? No, but I will go ahead and select yes, and I'm going to really quick create an account for the designated agent. Now, David, I will ask you, if you are listed, do you have an account in here as a designated agent, or should we go ahead and create and show the designated agent application as well? Or not? Okay, so I want to go ahead and click on no. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do really quick is apply for a designated agent account. Okay.
Amanda, I apologize. I was on mute. I do have a designated agent account. If you'd like to say yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that's my fault. I apologize to you all.
Okay, so if the designated agent is not registered, of course, the same thing, and I just I'm not going to create a whole new one, but if they're not, you're going to literally do the exact same thing. The only difference is you're going to apply as an individual, not as a business. So just remember that. If you don't have a designated agent who is registered, please create that online account and do not use the HOA name as a designated agent, because what that will do is create just a big mess to clean up. So if you have questions on this part, please let me know and I can answer those for you. Let's see, I don't know if do we have any questions in here? I'm not sure on this process as far as the designated agent goes.
Dennis had inquired about whether the original date of recording or the amended date of the recording is most helpful for us, and generally speaking, the original recording date is going to be the most helpful for us, again, because that helps us determine whether you are a pre-existing before Kiowa community or a more recently formed association.
Thank you. All right, so since the designated agent for the HOA is registered, I'm going to select yes. And again, if the person is not registered, please create that online account or that individual account for the designated agent. So because designated agent is registered, what's your name in there as a DA?
The DA number is 55793.
Okay, perfect. Now here, this is where obviously it took us. We're going to search for that designated agent's license because they are registered already. Now, if you don't have their designated agent ID number, their license number, always only search first and last name. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. First and last name. And you don't need zip code, state. It's picky. So we're going to use license number now. And there he is, of course. David is our designated agent. And now it's going to ask all about David. So as a designated agent. And here, I want to just show you really quick, if there already is a designated agent and you're looking to add a new designated agent and remove who was previously there, you will go ahead and click on the pencil icon. Maybe not. Or you'll click on the trash can there and you can delete that person, okay? And then of course, if you wanted to add a new person, you can add them here. Same thing, all it's gonna take you is to search for that person's license. So you, first and last name or license number. A lot of people ask about this one here, the employer information for the designated agent. I mean, unless you want to go through and answer all these questions, perfect. But as I mentioned earlier, there is no asterisk next to it, so we don't require this information to be answered or filled out. You are more than welcome to add that information if you'd like, but that is all up to you. How many HOAs does a designated agent manage? Because the HOA has 20 that I put in there, I'm going to put that David manages 20 HOAs. Poor David. Okay. Is David, are you an authorized agent representing a master association? No. Okay. And only if you answered yes, you will answer 36 through 38. Or 36 through 37, of course. And we're going to say no, it's not a sub-association either. Okay, secondary contact information. Now we do need a secondary contact. So let me see if I have my secondary contact person. Let's see. That's pretty sure I'll just put that there. Just ask for the contact information. Only if you have it. I mean, you don't have to put the phone number. It's great too, because I mean, if there needs to be a second contact person and be contacted, of course, we have that information there. You don't need any of this other information, just name, last name, email address, and or phone number. Great. So this is my secondary contact. Now, this is the attestation page. This is just you attesting that all the information that you provided in this HOA registration is accurate and all correct. We're going to go ahead and click on yes. And I would, if I were you, is make sure you're going through and looking through all the questions, all the answers, just in case you may have missed something, in case you needed to go through and make an edit. Especially here, if you thought maybe, you know what, I thought it was less than 5,000, but I believe I was wrong, and I'm going to go ahead and make it above $5,000. This is where you want to go ahead and do that. This is the only chance you can make any edits. So if there are any to be made, please do so only on this page. Because we're done with the application, so now if I were to go in and you know, it takes, I would say it takes about, I want to say give it about a day for you, a day or two to give it to see the HOA's registration approval. But yes, this is where you will get all the information here as far as the HOA goes, the HOA name, transaction date, invoice, in case of anything, if there's an issue with the payment or it didn't go through, but you have the invoice, that is the invoice number, that is that's very important for us to have if you needed us to make any corrections. So Lisa, you have a question on the phone number or email. Oh, hold on, where'd it go? Where did that go? Okay, there we go. Phone number or email so I can get to who, okay. So I can get to whoever has login credentials. I'm not sure what you.
I will put the contact information
Oh,
in
okay.
the chat here in just a moment. I just need to locate the email address and telephone number because we don't call ourselves very often.
Yeah, no, we don't. Okay, great. So this is, of course, the HOA application. Now, I am really quick going to go in and check my application really quick because there was no fee to be approved because the revenues are less than 5,000. I'm going to really quick go ahead and approve that and show you what it will look like on your end. Okay. Perfect. Okay, great. And I'll show you where you can go to print the license, all that good stuff. So bear with me and we'll get there here in a minute. Great. So I approve my application. Now, once the application is approved, okay, you can either refresh this page just because, and where you'll go to see if the HOA license is active and the information is there. You'll go to license information, and here is the HOA license number and all the HOA information that you provided. Now, if you are logged into the account and you want to say, okay, I want to make sure that, David is my designated agent. Employee or employer is going to be where that information is at. On more online services, any online services here, I can make the license. Now, this is one thing. If you need a license printed out, I could show you where to go to, but unfortunately, you will have to give us a call or email. That way we can make it available for you to print. Unfortunately, it will not let you print it, or it doesn't show the actual license in there unless we go in and make it available to print. I just did that on the back end of the database. So now I'll show you all how to do that. And because again, refreshing is like always your best friend when on this page, you always want to hit refresh. If you see here, it doesn't have it, the option to print the license. Now, because I already went in there and made it available to print, it still doesn't show it. So fortunately, we're going to have to log out really quick. And we will log back in. So once you do that, then you will see that the actual license is there and available for you to print out. I just want to kind of prove that point there. Oh, great. I locked myself out. Hold on. Okay, hang on. This is embarrassing. Wait. I got this. I even forgot my own password. So, and this is where you would always, actually, I'm going to show you all something really quick. Before I reset my password, I can actually show you how to log in really quick. If you don't have the user ID, or if you don't have the password and you only have the user ID, the online registration number, as you all know, is another one of your best friends to always get access to the HOA account. So really quick, let me show you how to do that. So a lot of people, thank you, HOA Forum 1, I appreciate you. Okay, so if you are locked out of the HOA account, okay, and you need the user ID password, but you don't have it, or you want to change it, this is where you would go. And thank you for that. I did find that, HOA Forum 1. Perfect. So if we have the user ID, we just don't remember the password. You want to go to register again. And remember what I told you in the beginning, this is only if the HOA has been registered, but you don't have the user ID or password. That is the only time that you're going to go ahead and select yes. The only time you would select no if it is an initial HOA registration. So with the online registration number, if you do not have it and you need it, all I need from you is a Secretary of State ID number. The reason why I ask for that, just because it's as is the HOA license number, very unique numbers. So that's the only way we can look up the HOA. I can't tell you how many times I've looked up any HOA, let's just say, for example, if there was 3 or 4 different HOA form accounts, I don't know which one it is. There's, a lot of HOAs sometimes do have the same name, so it's hard to tell which one is which. The only thing that will make it a unique is the online registration number, or the Secretary of State ID number. So here I have my online registration number, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that. Okay. So here's that. Now, online registration. Oh, I apologize. Then you need the HOA name. So HOA forum is the HOA name. Okay. So it does have to be the name that where it's registered with the Secretary of State. The same exact way that it's registered with the Secretary of State is going to be the same name that you're going to put here. And this is where it gives you access to the account information page. And this is where you have the option to either change the email address, create your new password if you need to, because you don't have it. That's the whole reason why you're getting in with the online registration number, and update any security questions or answers, okay? And that will obviously give you access to the HOA account. One more thing is the HOA, the online registration form that is going to be on our website. And if you need access to, or if you need that, you can always go onto our website and we'll give you that information here in a minute. But the online registration number, there's a request form. So if you have, gosh, let's just say 15 HOAs that you are now managing, or that you're now the designated agent for, you want to use that form, and you want to make sure that you're entering the information that is on there that it's requesting, which is the Secretary of State ID number, license number, and the HOA name, exactly how it's registered with the Secretary of State. And what you'll do is send that to me, and I will send you a whole list. And there are some people here who can vouch for me that I've done it. Send you a whole list of all the HOAs that you requested with the online registration numbers. That way you can get access to those accounts. If you have 3 to 4 to 5 accounts, you can email those to me. You don't have to put them on the form. The form is if you have, I would say, probably 10 or more HOAs. So that's one thing I want to just stress. If there's more than 10 HOAs, please use the online registration number form, the request form, and we can get those sent to you. Now, one other thing I want to get into really quick is the renewal. And I'm not sure if anybody has any questions as far as the registration or the HOA registration goes, or designated agent account registration, or even the online registration information. And if you do, you can always put those questions in the chat, or if your questions come up later, you can always send those to us in our email. Now, let's get into the renewal. I do have an HOA that's in renewal, and it's another account that I've created in the past. So really quick, we'll get in there. So this is my other account here. And this one is in renewal. So I'll show you where to go to. And as you could see here, it's been expired since 2020. Now, again, this is a dummy account, so okay. But I wouldn't recommend to let it expire for 2 years if the HOA is active. So let's see. You can either go here to access the renewal, okay? Or you can click on the home screen and scroll down to renew your license, or you can go here. So there's so many different ways to renew the HOA, okay? I want to really quick get into all this with you once we get into that renewal. And then I think we should be done with the e-license tutorial on how to register, renew, and do the designated agent stuff. So let's get into this renewal really quick. Sometimes if the renewal isn't there, the renewal option, if you know that the HOA is in renewal and it's expired, but it doesn't show the option to renew, please let us know and we can get that fixed for you. It might be just a glitch on our end, but only if if you know that the HOA is in renewal and expired. Sometimes if the renewal hasn't been open yet, let's just say if you're wanting to renew a license for October or September, that probably won't be available until I make that available to renew.
Amanda, I just put something in the chat to that extent, which is we
yeah.
usually get send out our renewal notices approximately 1 month before your renewal month. So so in early August, if you were set to expire in September, Amanda will open up those renewals for the month of September sometime, usually that first week in August. So that'll provide you notice, but important that you all understand that the notice email will only go to the email address that is associated with the HOA account. So that's an important thing to ensure as a board member or as a community association manager, that is a current and monitored email account, whether that be of a board member or some other individual, so that that when you see that email comes up, that you have ample time to react and get into the system and go through the renewal process.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, make sure that it is the same email address that you're using. And if, like David said, if there's a new email address on file, you definitely want to put that in. New designated agent, please update that information as a new designated agent comes in. I can't tell you how many times there's, new designated agents and the information isn't provided to whoever's coming in or whoever left. It's a mess, but please, and I just want to also say that it is okay to pass on the user ID and password for the HOA or the online registration number. If there's a new person who's coming in, you are more than welcome to provide that information to them. Helps each other out. It's kind of like one of those let me help you type of things. So, all right, my renewal. All right, so my email address, of course, is here. All right, so we're going to renew this. Any information that needs to be updated, this is the chance to go in and make those changes if you need to, okay? So the annual revenues are still below $5,000, still a nonprofit, and it's still self-managed, okay? It's still in the same location, nothing has changed. If anything needs to be updated, please make those changes here. There are still 4 units and there are no timeshares, okay? And let's see. So my designated agent is here, everything is good. Actually, I'll show you because we can update our designated agent information. I'm gonna make David my designated agent for this HOA, okay? And to remove this person, to remove Jeffrey as a designated agent, click on this pencil icon, okay? And make sure that whoever you're adding as a new designated agent is registered and has a license number for a designated agent. If they are not licensed as a designated agent, then you will not find them in here. And I cannot tell you again, please do not put any other type of license information as far as license numbers or any type of license as a designated agent, because it will not, it will give you an error message. If there is an association manager who was previously licensed, as we all know, they're no longer active, but if you are trying to add a previous community association manager as a designated agent, again, it will not take that response. They do have to have a designated agent credential. So we'll go ahead and inactivate Jeffrey, and we're gonna add David. Same thing, okay? Was this the one, David? 55793?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to stop you while you're doing that real quick, and address a couple questions, if that's okay.
That's perfect.
Robin indicated the answer to number 5 was different before. I think that, Rob, that simply was because we're dealing actually with 2 different HOAs. The original one that Amanda created, and now we're in a different HOA now, a different HOA account in order to show the renewal process. So I think that that's why the difference there was that you saw on the street address. When the question specifically asks for the street, not necessarily the street number, and so simply and the reason for that is, and this goes to Eileen's question as well, which is our HOA only has a PO box, no physical address. Is that an issue? What we would like on the physical address information is even an intersection is very helpful to Amanda and I. There might be there are very many similarly named HOAs throughout the state of Colorado. We have some of approximately 11,000 HOAs in the state by our estimations, and so you can imagine that there are some similar names, especially in some larger developments. You might have Elk Creek filing number 1 and Elk Creek filing number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've seen as high as 22 filings in the past. So us knowing where you are physically is very helpful. So even an intersection, if we're at the corner of Broadway and Colfax, which is where our office is, for instance, that is very helpful information so that Amanda and I know what HOA in fact you're talking about, because sometimes people don't necessarily know what their HOA credential number is. In this case, the 793 for me, since they but we want to be able to know and ensure them that we are in fact talking about the correct association and so that's why we would use that physical information. So are you at the corner of Colfax and Broadway approximately? Are you located in Longmont, as opposed to Cortez? That information is very helpful for us. So that's why we're talking about a physical address as opposed to a PO box, Eileen. The Division of Real Estate will not mail you anything. We utilize the email service, but we're not mail, so we don't actually necessarily need a PO box for purposes of this registration process.
Yes, and that's okay. Yeah, PO boxes. Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot of HOAs who do register that way. Yeah, as long as we have, we do need that address on file for sure. And we do ask, yes, that all HOAs and addresses that you do put the actual physical address of the association. Okay, so we added David as a designated agent. We removed the previous person by inactivating them, and we searched for David's license number, and this is what we got. We got his information here. Okay, so we're gonna hit okay. This was our previous designated agent. We just inactivated him. And of course, we just added David as a new designated agent. So this is where we want to hit next, okay? We don't need to hit add again because we already added him, so we don't need to do this anymore. Next, same thing with the last one is, this is information here that you're providing that it's all true. that you agree that all the information above and that you provided is correct, okay? Hit yes and hit next. All right, same thing. Make sure you're checking anything. You want to go back and make sure that all the information you provided, you didn't, make any typos or any edits that you forgot to make. This is your only chance to do so before you submit, okay? Finish is making that final. So we're going to go ahead and finish that renewal. And all right, so once we go back to the home screen, license information, and it is now active. Okay, so 1 year exactly from the renewal date. All right, so we'll renew this again in 2023. So that completes that renewal section of it. Really quick, I just want to show you all the more online services section here. Really quick, if you're wanting to add or remove a designated agent and the HOA is already active, it's not in renewal, and you think that, the only time to add a designated agent is in renewal, no. You can always add or remove a designated agent here. Again, this is, you'll get to here only by, of course, scrolling all the way down. Okay, so add or remove a designated agent. This is only if the HOA is not in renewal. Okay, so we're not gonna remove them, but this is where you would go. Of course, pencil icon, hit inactive. And that is the only way to remove a designated agent, okay?
One question that comes up often is, can we have more than one designated agent associated with our HOA? The answer is no for that. So again, it's just identifying one individual to act as that point of contact. Of course, it can be changed as many times as you wish if someone moves or whatever the case might be, but just one at a time.
Yes. And then we have a question that came in as far as the addresses that are all on the same street. So, if they are, I'm not sure if they're all, within the same community, but all addresses, as far as the HOA goes, the HOA does have to be registered at the HOA has to be registered. I apologize. The address has to be exactly where the HOA is physically located and registered. So you can't have, several HOAs and put a management company's address, because that's not where the HOA is located. Management companies could be way across town and the HOAs could be way on the other side of town. So we do need the actual address to where the HOA is physically located. Update any HOA information, license information. Okay, so if you need to update the number of units for the HOA, the way it's managed, and any declaration information, this is where you want to go ahead and enter this information. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we don't need to update anything yet. These are just examples. Okay, and one more is update the owners or contact person, which is AKA secondary contact. All that information is here. So if you wanted to update, you can. This is the key management. This is just the HOA's, again, contact information. So this is the only time you can update here, okay? And I believe that is going to be it. Yes, so if you wanted to print out your license, all that good stuff, you could do that here and I will show you. Again, it does have to, I don't know why, but it asks for us to make that available for you to print out. So really quick, if I were to go ahead and make that license available to print really quick, I'm just going to show you how that works. Okay. So it only took for me to make that available. Okay. And now you see the license option, I mean, the print license option, it's here. So this is where you can go ahead and make that, where you can go ahead and print out the actual HOA registration certificate, okay? And without me going in there and making it available to print, you won't see that option, unfortunately. So definitely you'll need us to help you with that. But I think that's going to be it as far as the, as far as the registration and renewal goes. You can, if you're looking for a list of different licensees or different, all HOAs that are registered within the state, this is where you can go, okay? You'll find all that information here. And really quick, I do want to go back in. And this is our resources. If you need more HOA resources, we have our FAQ page. So if you have questions, our frequently asked questions are all in there. So you can find anything in there. If you have questions as far as the renewal, any questions on registration, any questions on, designated agents, just type that in and you will find all that there, okay? This is our website. And this is, again, where you will also find the online registration number, the online registration form to get access to the HOAs, the request form. So our website is here. So if you would like to jot that down, you're welcome to do so. Okay, and let's see. And again, if you have any other questions, I am happy to answer. Otherwise, you can always email us. I really hope, I really hope that, this presentation provided a lot of helpful information. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to David with an email or phone call. We have amazing resources, as I mentioned, on the HOA Centers page. So if you haven't already, you can always sign up for our emails. And I believe you could still receive, if that's available still, David, where you can sign up for the HOA today and just get your email address submitted. Is that still?
Yes, you can. If you go to the HOA Center's website, and then you scroll down to the very bottom of the website, there is a field that says "Sign up for HOA today," and you can put in your information there. And there are many other government agencies that utilize that same service. So, so if you're interested also in insurance or civil rights or a wide array of other government communications, you can certainly enroll in that too, but and as well as various other programs within the Division of Real Estate. So we certainly encourage you to sign up for the HOA Today newsletters. We send out useful information and most notably notifications about future HOA forums.
Yes. And of course, email address and our website. Again, I mentioned that earlier, but our website is www.dre.colorado.gov/HOA-center. That's our website. Our email address. You can always use this email address and we will get to your inquiry and respond as soon as we get your inquiry. We're always happy to answer any questions, help you with anything that you need. Again, if you have a list of all kinds of HOAs that you want to, get the secretary the online registration for, please send us that list or that form, and we will send you a whole list of all the HOAs that you're inquiring on. Our email address is Dora_DRE_HOA inquiries @state.co.us.